Hey friends! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about something truly insane. Throughout human architectural history, we've always been obsessed with building upward. The Empire State Building in New York, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. We reach for the sky to prove the greatness of humanity. But what if you flip that idea upside down? Imagine this: instead of riding an elevator into the clouds, you descend nearly 300 feet underground like the hive in the movie Resident Evil. This isn't science fiction, and it's definitely not one of Elon Musk's Mars base concepts. This place actually exists in Shanghai, China. This is the Intercontinental Shanghai Wonderland, also known as the Shima Quarry Hotel. CNN called it an architectural wonder, but I prefer to call it the world's only anti-skyscraper. This isn't just a hotel, it's a $300 million underground world carved into a scar left behind by a World War II quarry. And today, I'm taking you inside to see how Chinese engineers turned an engineering nightmare into what might be the coolest James Bond villain lair on Earth. Our story begins 80 years ago. This site was once a quarry dug out by Japanese invaders during World War II. Decades of excavation hollowed out the mountain, leaving behind a massive pit roughly the height of the Statue of Liberty. In the United States, if you had a giant pit like this, there are usually only two outcomes. It becomes a landfill, or it ends up as a pile of abandoned rocks like you'd see in Arizona. Nobody says, hey, maybe we should hang a 5-star hotel off the edge of this cliff. Geologists actually called this place a nightmare. The cliffside rock layers are a mix of solid basalt and loose sandstone, a recipe for collapses. It's also a natural water basin. One heavy rain, and it becomes a deep, stagnant lake, and there wasn't even a road. The only access was a steep ramp once used for hauling stones. When legendary British architect Martin Jockman, the same mind behind Dubai's Burj Al Arab, first saw the pit, he didn't see ruins. He saw Middle Earth from The Lord of the Rings. He sketched what looked like a hanging garden draped over a waterfall. But when he handed that sketch to the engineers, their reaction was basically, are you kidding me? A friend's building the Hoover Dam in America was tough, but at least workers stood on solid ground or riverbeds. Here, everything was against human logic. First question, how do you even get building materials down there? The pit is nearly 90 meters deep. A standard tower crane can't reach the bottom. If you transport materials by truck, the speed would be so slow the project might finish next century. So the Chinese team made a wild decision. They invented a super elevator system, not a regular elevator, a system backed by 39 patents. And the craziest part, the way they solved concrete delivery. Think about it, if you dump concrete from 90 meters high, gravity separates the gravel from the slurry. By the time it hits the bottom, you get useless scrap instead of concrete. This is called segregation. To fix this, engineers designed a 3-stage damping system. Sounds boring? It's not. It's basically a giant spiral slide for concrete, like the twisting shape of your intestines. A spiraling pipeline constantly stirs and slows the concrete so it arrives perfectly mixed, smooth as whipped cream. Just solving the problem of how to move things down took years of simulation. This wasn't construction, it was minimally invasive surgery on the Earth. And what about earthquakes? A normal skyscraper is like a chopstick stuck in the ground. It wobbles but stays stable. But this building is hanging off a cliff. If the rock wall shakes, a rigid structure would tear apart instantly. To keep $300 million from snapping in half, engineers didn't bolt the hotel tightly to the cliff. Instead, they designed a calculated looseness. The support structure uses bridge engineering. Think of it like a giant shock absorber. During an earthquake, the hotel slides slightly with the rock instead of resisting it. This gives it the strength to withstand magnitude 7 earthquakes. But even scarier than earthquakes is fire. If a fire breaks out on the surface, you run outward. If a fire breaks out at the bottom of a pit, where do you run? Smoke rises, turning the entire quarry into a chimney, or worse, an oven. To eliminate this death trap, they engineered the fire safety system to nuclear power plant standards. Every room has its own emergency respirator. The massive outdoor terraces aren't just viewing platforms, they are emergency evacuation islands. And the lake itself is an infinite water source for firefighting. This isn't just luxury, it's a survivalist dream. All right, engineering class over. Now let's talk about what you actually get for your money if you're willing to pay over $1,000 per night. You'll get one of the most surreal experiences on the planet. Only 2 floors of the hotel are above ground, the lobby. The other 16 floors are inside the pit, and the lowest 2 floors are completely underwater. It's like sleeping in Jason Momoa's bedroom. The glass here isn't normal glass. It's aquarium grade acrylic, incredibly thick and able to withstand huge water pressure. When you fall asleep, there are no city lights, just blue shimmer and drifting fish. It's a deep meditative silence. And of course, the waterfall. The cliff face opposite the hotel was kept in its original shape, and a massive man-made waterfall pours down from the top. Walking along the glass walkway with a 100-meter drop beneath your feet and water thundering in front of you, feels like a crossover between post-apocalyptic wasteland and sci-fi futurism, basically Blade Runner in real life. They even built a helipad inside the crater. Why? Because if you're a billionaire, you're obviously flying straight into the pit. For decades, stories about Chinese mega projects have focused on big, fast, and tall. But the Shanghai Quarry Hotel represents a different philosophy: healing. What moves me most isn't the patents, but the intention behind the project. From a business standpoint, the cheaper option would have been to fill the pit and build regular apartment towers. More profit, less trouble. Instead, they chose the hardest path. They didn't hide the Earth scar, they turned it into a medal of honor. It's a higher level of environmental respect. Don't destroy new land. Revive abandoned land. Use geothermal energy. Use the cliff for natural insulation. Use the quarry's microclimate to regulate temperature. It's not just luxury, it's about how humanity can responsibly face the mistakes of our past. So friends, here's the question. If you had the chance, would you dare stay in this upside down building that plunges 90 meters into the earth? Or would hanging off a cliff make your knees go weak? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And if you love exploring extreme engineering stories, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you next time as we explore more incredible corners of our world.